Hello, I'm Sakiz, and on this channel, we explore fictional mysterious stories that feel eerily close to reality. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that reveals the darkest side of modern technology. This story begins in Willowbrook, a quiet suburban neighborhood outside Portland, Oregon. 200 homes equipped with the same water monitoring system. And Dr. Sarah Martinez recorded every single case of poisoning. This isn't just a technology malfunction. This is proof of how technology can blur the line between protection and destruction. And Sarah has 12 hours of medical records to prove it. Are you ready? Let's go back to that week when everything began. March 8, 2024, Monday morning. Willowbrook was known as Portland's model neighborhood, perfect lawns, friendly families, and most importantly, the newest smart home technology installations throughout the area. The neighborhood had just completed a massive upgrade. 200 homes, all equipped with PureFlow's latest water monitoring system. The promise was simple: real-time water quality analysis, automatic contamination alerts, and guaranteed family safety through advanced sensor technology. Lisa Thompson, a 42-year-old mother of two, lived at 1247 Maple Street. Like her neighbors, she had invested $2,500 in the PureFlow system 6 months earlier. The sleek blue device sat elegantly under her kitchen sink, its LED display constantly showing reassuring green lights. Water quality, excellent. Contamination level, 0. Family safety, protected. Every morning, Lisa would check the display before making coffee. Every evening, she'd glance at it while preparing dinner. The consistent readings gave her peace of mind that her family was drinking the purest water possible. But that Monday morning, something was different. Not in the readings, they remained perfect. But in Lisa herself. Lisa woke up feeling nauseous. Not severely ill, just off. She assumed it was stress from work and continued her normal routine. Her husband Mark mentioned feeling slightly dizzy during breakfast, and their 8-year-old daughter Emma complained of a headache before school. By Tuesday, the symptoms had worsened. Lisa experienced severe abdominal pain, Mark developed persistent fatigue, and Emma's headaches became so intense that Lisa kept her home from school. Wednesday brought more disturbing developments. Lisa's neighbor, Janet Rodriguez from 1249 Maple Street, knocked on her door looking pale and exhausted. "Lisa, I need to ask you something," Janet said, her voice trembling. "Has your family been feeling sick lately? Because we've all been experiencing the strangest symptoms: nausea, headaches, fatigue. My husband Carlos is so weak he can barely get out of bed." Lisa's heart sank. "We've been dealing with the exact same thing since Monday. I was about to call the doctor." Janet's eyes widened. The Petersons across the street mentioned feeling sick too. And the Johnsons down the block. "Lisa, I think something's wrong with our neighborhood." By Thursday morning, Willowbrook Elementary School had to close due to teacher shortages, not from a virus, but because too many staff members lived in the neighborhood and had fallen ill. Portland General Hospital's emergency department was overwhelmed with patients from a single zip code. Dr. Sarah Martinez, a 38-year-old epidemiologist at Portland Health Department, received an urgent call from the hospital administrator. "Dr. Martinez, we need you here immediately. We have over 150 patients from the same neighborhood, all presenting with similar symptoms: severe gastrointestinal distress, neurological dysfunction, liver enzyme elevation, and kidney stress markers. The pattern is unlike anything we've seen." Sarah arrived at the hospital to find chaos. The emergency department had converted 3 additional rooms into treatment areas. Families from Willowbrook filled every available bed, and the symptoms were escalating rapidly. She interviewed patient after patient, meticulously documenting symptoms, onset times, and potential common exposures. The pattern that emerged was both clear and terrifying: every single patient lived in Willowbrook, every family had become ill within the same 5-day window, and the symptoms suggested systematic poisoning. Dr. Michael Rodriguez, the attending physician, approached Sarah with lab results. These blood tests are showing traces of industrial-grade toxins, specifically, heavy metals and chemical compounds that shouldn't exist in residential water supplies. But here's the strange part: when we tested the municipal water supply, it came back completely clean. Sarah knew she was looking at either an environmental disaster or something far more sinister. She decided to visit Willowbrook personally to investigate potential contamination sources. Walking through the neighborhood, she noticed something peculiar. Despite the medical crisis, every home displayed the same reassuring technology: PureFlow water monitoring systems with perfect green lights, all showing excellent water quality readings. She knocked on Lisa Thompson's door. Lisa, now visibly ill and pale, invited her inside. "Mrs. Thompson, I'm Dr. Martinez from the health department. I'm investigating the illness outbreak in your neighborhood. Can you tell me about your water sources and any recent changes?" Lisa led her to the kitchen, pointing to the PureFlow device. "We installed this 6 months ago. It's supposed to protect us from contamination. Look, it still shows perfect water quality." Sarah examined the device carefully. The display indeed showed optimal readings, but something felt wrong. "Mrs. Thompson, has anyone from PureFlow contacted you about the illnesses in your neighborhood?" "No, and that's what I find strange. If there was a water contamination issue, wouldn't our monitoring system detect it? Wouldn't the company want to investigate?" Sarah's epidemiological training kicked in. When a monitoring system fails to detect a clear contamination event, there are usually two explanations: technical failure or deliberate deception. That evening, Sarah contacted Detective James Chen, who specialized in technology crimes. Together, they decided to examine one of the PureFlow devices more closely. With Lisa's permission, they carefully removed the device from under her sink. What they discovered inside was shocking. Alongside the legitimate water testing components, there was an additional system, a chemical injection mechanism connected to a small reservoir filled with colorless liquid. Detective Chen photographed everything. "Dr. Martinez, this isn't a monitoring system. It's a delivery system. The device has been designed to inject substances directly into the water supply while displaying false safety readings." Sarah felt sick. "James, if this is true, then every home in Willowbrook has been systematically poisoned. But why? Who would do this, and what's the motive?" They immediately contacted the PureFlow corporate headquarters, but the company's response was suspicious. Marcus Webb, the CEO, claimed complete ignorance of any device modifications and suggested the neighborhood outbreak was likely due to environmental factors unrelated to our technology. However, Sarah's research revealed disturbing information about Webb. 6 months earlier, a development company had tried to purchase the entire Willowbrook neighborhood for a commercial project. The residents had refused to sell, organizing community resistance that successfully blocked the development. The same development company had financial ties to PureFlow Industries. Sarah and Detective Chen obtained a warrant to examine PureFlow's corporate records and manufacturing facilities. What they discovered was a premeditated conspiracy involving corporate executives, corrupt city officials, and a systematic plan to force Willowbrook residents to abandon their homes. In Webb's private office, they found detailed files on every Willowbrook resident, medical profiles, and a timeline for the contamination project. The plan was methodical. Phase 1: Install monitoring devices in 200 homes under the guise of water safety. Phase 2: Begin gradual chemical injection to cause chronic illness. Phase 3: Escalate contamination levels to force residents to seek medical treatment. Phase 4: Create a health emergency that would condemn the neighborhood. Phase 5: Purchase homes at drastically reduced prices from desperate, sick families. The chemical reservoir contained a cocktail of industrial toxins designed to cause exactly the symptoms Willowbrook residents were experiencing: neurological dysfunction, organ stress, and chronic illness that would worsen over time without treatment. Marcus Webb had essentially turned 200 families into unwitting test subjects for a real estate acquisition scheme disguised as a public health crisis. Detective Chen discovered financial records showing Webb's company stood to make $50 million from the land acquisition once the neighborhood was evacuated due to environmental contamination. While Sarah and Detective Chen gathered evidence, the situation in Willowbrook deteriorated rapidly. By Friday, 12 residents had been admitted to intensive care with organ failure. Children were particularly vulnerable to the toxins, and 3 families had been told their children might not survive without immediate intervention. Dr. Rodriguez worked frantically to develop treatment protocols for the specific toxin combination. The challenge was enormous. The chemicals had been designed to mimic various common illnesses, making diagnosis and treatment extremely difficult. Sarah realized they were racing against time. If the contamination continued, Willowbrook would become a ghost town, not from natural disaster, but from corporate murder. She contacted the EPA, FBI, and CDC simultaneously, providing evidence of the systematic poisoning. Federal agents raided PureFlow facilities and Webb's offices, but Webb had already begun destroying evidence and preparing to flee the country. Meanwhile, Sarah had to solve an immediate problem: how to stop the ongoing poisoning of 200 families. Every hour of delay meant more severe illness and potential deaths. Working with city engineers, she organized an emergency response to simultaneously shut off water to all Willowbrook homes and remove every PureFlow device. The operation required coordinating with the fire department, medical personnel, and hazmat teams. The removal operation began at dawn on Saturday. Sarah and Detective Chen led teams of specialists going door to door, explaining the situation to residents and safely extracting the contaminated devices. Many residents were too ill to fully comprehend what was happening. Lisa Thompson, now hospitalized with liver damage, gave permission for the team to enter her home and document everything for evidence. But Marcus Webb wasn't finished. As news of the investigation spread, PureFlow's legal team filed emergency injunctions claiming the device removal was destruction of private property and interference with legitimate business operations. Webb's lawyers argued that the illness outbreak was coincidental and that removing the devices would actually endanger residents by eliminating their water quality monitoring. The legal battle created a nightmare scenario. While lawyers argued in court, families continued drinking poisoned water because some devices couldn't be legally removed. Sarah made a decision that would define her career. She held a press conference and publicly revealed everything: the contamination conspiracy, Webb's motive, and the immediate danger to every Willowbrook resident. "These devices are not protecting your families," she declared on live television. "They are systematically poisoning you. Every hour they remain in your homes increases the risk of permanent organ damage or death." Sarah's public revelation triggered a massive investigation that exposed the full scope of Webb's conspiracy. FBI agents discovered that PureFlow had targeted other communities across the country using similar tactics. The evidence was overwhelming: internal emails discussing population relocation strategies, chemical procurement records, financial agreements with development companies, and detailed medical profiles of targeted residents. Most damning was a recorded conversation between Webb and a development executive where Webb stated, "The beauty of this approach is that it looks like a public health emergency. No one suspects corporate involvement when people get sick from contaminated water. They blame the city, the environment, anyone except the monitoring company that's supposed to protect them." Detective Chen arrested Webb as he attempted to board a private jet to a non-extradition country. In his luggage, agents found $2 million in cash, falsified passports, and additional chemical compounds intended for future projects. The legal consequences were swift and severe. Webb was charged with conspiracy to commit mass murder, corporate terrorism, environmental crime, and racketeering. PureFlow Industries collapsed overnight as investors fled and lawsuits mounted. But for Willowbrook residents, the legal victory felt hollow. The community had been devastated. 12 people died from the poisoning, including 2 children. Dozens more suffered permanent health damage requiring lifelong medical treatment. 6 months later, Willowbrook was slowly recovering. The neighborhood had been declared safe after extensive environmental remediation, but the psychological trauma remained. Many families had moved away, unable to trust any technology in their homes. Lisa Thompson survived, though she required ongoing treatment for liver damage. Her daughter Emma recovered completely, but the family decided to relocate to a different state. "I can't look at any smart home device without wondering what it's really doing," Lisa told Sarah during a follow-up interview. "We thought we were protecting our family with the latest technology. Instead, we were inviting a weapon into our home." The Willowbrook case became a landmark in technology crime prosecution. It revealed how easily trusted devices could be weaponized and how corporate motives could turn protective technology into systematic murder weapons. Dr. Sarah Martinez now leads a federal task force investigating technology-based crimes. Her team has discovered that the PureFlow conspiracy was not isolated. Other companies have attempted similar schemes using smart thermostats, air quality monitors, and home security systems. The lesson of Willowbrook, Sarah concluded, is that when we invite technology into our homes, we're also inviting the intentions of the people who control that technology. Sometimes the greatest danger isn't what technology fails to protect us from, it's what technology is deliberately designed to do to us. Marcus Webb was sentenced to life in prison without parole. But for the survivors of Willowbrook, justice could never restore their faith in the basic promise of modern technology, that innovation would protect them, not systematically destroy their lives. The water sensors that promised purity became instruments of corporate murder. And in Willowbrook, the most dangerous contamination wasn't in the water supply, it was in the technology designed to monitor it.